Imam ibn Taymiyya was born in the year 1263 in the city of Harran in southeastern Anatolia during the rule of the Mamluk Sultanate. During his youth, he memorized the Quran and became an Imam. However, he was eventually forced to flee his home when the Mongols invaded Anatolia. Therefore, he took refuge in Syria, where he became an Imam at the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus. When the Mongols invaded Syria, most of the Mamluk army fled to Egypt. However, Ibn Taymiyya stayed behind and formed an army of volunteers to defend Syria against the Mongols. Ibn Taymiyya and his army were able to prevent the Mongols from conquering Syria. Ibn Taymiyya eventually met the Mongol general known as Ghazan in order to discuss a truce and arrange the release of prisoners of war. Ghazan initially agreed to only release the Muslim prisoners of war. However, Ibn Taymiyya called on him to release the Christian prisoners as well, and stated, "The Christians are under our protection." As a result, the Christians were also released by the Mongol army. After the end of the war, Ibn Taymiyya continued preaching at the Umayyad Mosque, and he called on the Mamluk government to reform in order to protect the Muslim world from future Mongol invasions. He stated, "Allah will support the just state even if it is led by non-Muslims, but Allah will not support the oppressive state even if it is led by Muslims." Ibn Taymiyya also sent a letter to the Mamluk government, calling on them to appoint governors based on merit instead of family ties. Ibn Taymiyya was eventually arrested and imprisoned by the Mamluk king known as Sultan Nasir bin Qalawun, after he refused to issue a fatwa permitting the killing of his political opponents. After being released from jail, Ibn Taymiyya continued calling for political reforms, and on multiple occasions he mediated the release of scholars who were imprisoned by the Mamluk government. He also called on others to speak out against injustice and corruption, and he did not fear anyone. On one occasion, Ibn Taymiyya saw a man kissing the hand of a Mamluk prince. Ibn Taymiyya was disgusted by this behavior and stated, "It is forbidden for a Muslim to kiss anyone's hand or to bow down to anyone except Allah." Besides calling for political reforms, he also called for social reforms. Ibn Taymiyya and his students would frequently patrol the streets of Damascus and forcefully close down immoral establishments such as gambling houses and brothels. Because of his strong stances against injustice, Ibn Taymiyya was eventually exiled to Egypt. He stated, "What can my enemies do to me? My paradise is in my heart. It is with me wherever I go. To imprison me is to provide me with seclusion. To send me into exile is to send me away in the path of Allah, and to kill me is to make me a martyr." After returning to Syria, Ibn Taymiyya was imprisoned again. This time he was not released, and he died in prison. His funeral was attended by hundreds of people, including many Jews and Christians who had converted to Islam after meeting him.